Hello, everyone, and welcome to. It says Castbot Conspiracy on the screen, but that's because I don't know how to edit, and that's the only Castbot screen that I have right now, because I'm stupid. And so we haven't made a new title screen for this thing yet, and I've been meaning to ask Kevin to make one, but you know what? It's fine. We're running it. We're just gonna make it happen. Because this is a Calum solo episode. I've had this idea for a while. I wanted to do this thing that I have titled the Weebing Hour. And by that I mean it is a solo, maybe sometimes other people, but mainly a solo episode where I just kind of rant for a while. Because I have a lot of things that I'm passionate about. I like to just rant to myself about various things. I do it usually just in my head because I'm mentally unwell, where I just kind of talk to myself about a certain topic, and I was like, I could monetize this. I could make money off of my unwellness. And so this is what I'm doing. I am here today to talk about the Weebing Hour, which the whole concept around it was like I talk for an hour, typically about weeb stuff. It's gonna be mostly anime related stuff where I'm like anime that like I've seen. Not Calum explains anime because usually that's with like Carter and Kevin, where I talk about an anime that I've seen that I would like recommend or maybe not recommend. Um, but this is for stuff that like only I've seen, where like only I can really talk about it, because otherwise I'd just be talking at people about it. And um, I just think I'm like, if only I have thoughts about it, maybe I'll just talk to myself about it. And so that's what we're doing. That's what I'm here for today. I have a few different ideas for what I want to do with this series. If you guys like it, please like, subscribe, comment, typical YouTuber stuff. But today I'm going to be talking about I'm literally looking at my notes app where I've written down podcast ideas, and so I'm going to talk about something that I have many thoughts about and have been wanting to talk about for a while, and that is Dragon Ball Daima. So, if you don't know, I am a big Dragon Ball fan. Dragon Ball, specifically Z, is my number one all-time anime. One Piece is really coming for that title, I have to say. Um, but it just for like nostalgia's sake, I've seen it multiple times. I've watched every series, except all of Dragon Ball. But like, come on, who's seen all of Dragon Ball? Um, but like, I'm really passionate about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. And so Dragon Ball Daima came out recently. If you don't know what Dragon Ball Daima is, this is the last quote unquote canon series created by Akira Toriyama, the original creator of Dragon Ball. Um, it's like the last kind of official series of the main creator, because if you don't know, Akira Toriyama has passed away, and so there's not going to be any more kind of original Dragon Ball series. They have been talking about continuing with Dragon Ball Super with a different guy who I'm blanking on the name of right now, but um, he's been doing the illustrations for Dragon Ball Super manga recently, and he has made his own uh, like fan mangas previously. So I think the story could really go into some interesting places now that it's with a different person. I have my own thoughts about that, but we're going to focus on Dragon Ball Daima today. And so, Dragon Ball Daima is a anime series that was created by Akira Toriyama. So it's an original story, original characters, and I remember when I first wrote down this idea to talk about this. This was this was supposed to be some predictions for the series, what I thought about the series before it came out. But now the series has come out, it's done, been subbed and dubbed, and I've watched all of it. So this episode is it's going to be a bit of a combination of what I was thinking going into it, what I thought of it, and now kind of reflecting back on it. Um, I've been drinking also, if that isn't clear. I'm recording this at like, I don't know, a time that you should not worry about. So, Dragon Ball Daima, when the first kind of trailer came out for it and the animation for it, we could see the animation was clean. I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, this looks nice. Okay, I'm liking this. And then the thing happened. And the thing was, all of the characters were turned into children. Now, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you've seen this before. Okay, you've seen the characters get turned into children. We're all aware of Dragon Ball GT. Listen, I've seen Dragon Ball GT. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. If you don't know, it was a series, technically non-canon because it wasn't like Akira Toriyama's story. They were like, listen, Dragon Ball Z was a huge hit. We gotta make more Dragon Ball. And Akira Toriyama's like, I mean, sure. Why not? And they're like, you know, it would be crazy if we did Dragon Ball, but what if we made Goku a kid again? We gotta bring it back to its roots. We gotta make Goku a kid again to reference original Dragon Ball. Everybody's gonna love it. Everybody did not love it. So when the Dragon Ball Daima trailer came out, and we're like, new Dragon Ball, yes, woo! And then we see them get turned into kids, just like Dragon Ball GT. Everyone was like, oh no, they're making Dragon Ball GT again? Why? Who asked for that? So I was worried, to say the least. I saw Dragon Ball GT 2 coming from Dragon Ball Daima, and I was like, oh man, I don't want that. I wanted more Dragon Ball Super. As much as Dragon Ball Super, like, people have strong opinions on Dragon Ball Super, I was just happy we were getting adult Goku and adult other characters doing stuff. We got new forms. We got some crazy fights. Like, I enjoyed Dragon Ball Super. I was watching it weekly as it was coming out. I was just happy we were getting new Dragon Ball content, okay? It's the least I could ask for, because Dragon Ball GT, I'm pretty sure finished, like, when I was still in elementary school. Dragon Ball's an old show, if you don't realize. So I was just excited for it. I wanted Dragon Ball Super to continue, because people have been talking about the anime of Dragon Ball Super continuing, and when everyone was like, yo, Dragon Ball content, new Dragon Ball content's coming, I think we were all a little taken back to see that it's not what we expected. It's a brand new series. We didn't know where it would fit in the timeline. Is this an alternate universe? Is it canon even? So I don't think anybody knew what to expect, other than the fact that, oh, it looks like the characters are children. And so a lot of concerns going into it. But I was like, you know what? Akira Toriyama made this series. He made Dragon Ball. He made Dragon Ball Z. Like, he is capable of making really good stories. You can say that Dragon Ball doesn't have that great of story, and that it's just kind of like, I don't know, like the most basic of anime. Like, character progression isn't really a thing. It's just kind of like fights and fights and fights. But I don't know. I still enjoy it. I would still defend it. I think there is growth in the characters. I think there are some interesting story arcs that's not just Goku comes in and punches a guy and then he can't beat the guy, but then he gets a new form and then he beats the guy. And so I was like, if Akira Toriyama is running this, it's not going to be Dragon Ball GT2. Like, he has some ideas, he has some plans. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited for it. Like, I just want to see what he's come up with. And so there was a long wait in between when that first trailer came out and when the show came out. So there was a lot of speculation of what was going to happen, what the story was going to be. Obviously, Dragon Ball Daima spoilers to come. If you want to see the show, I would recommend it. That's a bit of a spoiler. I liked it for the most part. And so, if you're listening to this right now, maybe go watch it, and then we can talk about it together. Except I won't be able to hear what you're saying. You can leave it in the comments. I don't know. Email me. Don't do that. But anyways, show eventually comes out. First episode, we get to see everybody in this new animation style, and I have to say again, the animation style was clean. I liked that animation. I would be excited for more if they continue Dragon Ball Super. I would be excited if they continued to animate in that style. I think it was good. It was like kind of 3D, not quite CG, but some CG. Kind of like the movies that they've done recently. But I liked it. It was good. Everybody gets turned into a kid. And, even before that, so the timeline that it takes place, because everyone was curious, like, when is this taking place in the grand scheme of the story? It's taking place in between the Buu saga and Super. So there's a few years in between the Buu saga and Super. I think it's like 7. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm doing this under the influence. And so it's like, it's pretty recent after Buu. Basically, Buu was created by Bibbidi, who was then controlled by Bobbidi. And then they both die, but they're from the Demon Realm. We don't get to see much of the Demon Realm. Or actually, I don't even know if we know if Bibbidi and Bobbidi are from the Demon World. We know that Dabura, who was controlled by Bobbidi, is from the Demon Realm. He was the king of the Demon Realm. But we don't get to see much of the Demon Realm in mainline Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. We just kind of get references to it with King Piccolo from Dragon Ball apparently being a demon and him having his kids who were demons, and then Bibbidi and Bobbidi and Dabura. But this story focuses heavily on the Demon Realm. So I liked that, in that this was a concept created by Akira Toriyama, and he's like, I want to explore this more. I think there's more to be told in this story from that point of view, and I thought that was interesting. So the new king of the Demon Realm sees Buu get defeated, and he's like, oh shoot, like, these guys are strong, oh my god, we gotta do something about that. And so he goes, I'm not going to explain the whole story, but just like parts that I think are important that kind of framed my opinion around it. He decides to steal Dende, because Dende is the guy who created the Dragon Balls, or at least created a new set of Dragon Balls. You're going to have to go back and watch all of Dragon Ball Z. I'm not going to lie. If you want to understand everything I'm saying, if you've never seen any of Dragon Ball, this is probably going to mean nothing to you. But for those of you that are vaguely aware, there's a character named Dende. He made the Dragon Balls. That's the name of the show. And so he turns everybody into children, because he's like, I can't fight these guys. They just beat Buu, who is like the strongest character currently in the universe that we know of. And so, instead of like killing them, or like wishing to be stronger, or any other option you could wish upon a magic dragon, he's like, I could beat them if they were kids. Let's make them kids. So he makes everybody that has a relation to Goku children. And most of them, just like in Dragon Ball Z, are not relevant. They become kids, and then it's just like, oh man, I'm a child. Look at me as a child. Here's the character concept if you ever want to make toys of me. Goodbye. It's the Goku show. It's Goku and Vegeta and Piccolo. And we don't even get to see Gohan. Isn't that crazy? Gohan was so relevant in the Buu saga, and then in Dragon Ball Daima, they're just like, I mean, he exists, but we don't need to show him. So he's just gone. But Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Bulma, that's pretty much every relevant character in Daima. They all get turned into kids, and then they're like, "Oh no, we're kids. How do we live as kids? I don't know." And so kind of similar to GT, not only because they're turned into kids, but now it's like, oh, these characters we know and love who were really strong at one point are now children, and so their power level